Oh man. All right, everyone. So I have the book publishing fairy godmother in the house. Like you guys don't even like this is a treat for you guys. Like the amount of wisdom this beautiful goddess has in terms of how to leverage the opportunity that you guys are in, being a co-author in this multi-author book. Like when I heard her talk about this, I was like, oh my gosh, I want her wisdom. I want you guys to like, hear and be able to like take in the wisdom and apply it because it's such a big opportunity. So welcome, Debbie.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much. Thank you for having me here. I mean, talking to book authors, it's kind of it's a full circle sort of experience for me to be here tonight and some of the recent interviews that I've been doing because I've been publishing books now for 8 years since
Amazing.
2013, and I had the thought in my head in 2012, how do I become one of these best-selling book authors that I see on every stage, that I see getting all the publicity in my category? I'm an expert too. Why shouldn't I write a book? And I started interviewing best-selling book authors just to absorb their experience and absorb their energy. And I knew if I started spending more time around book authors who were successful, eventually, like I was going to end up publishing a book. And it happened within about 6 months. I was like, that's it, I'm publishing a book. And things started happening. As soon as I announced it, things changed. I started getting different opportunities all over the place because once you announce that you're becoming a published best-selling, you're anticipating becoming a best-selling book author, that you're excited about publishing this book and this message and why it's important to you to get that out to the world. When you start expressing that, people want to join you on your success path.
I agree. One of the first prompts that I gave them was to just write a post about how they are choosing to share your story in this book and become a published author. And I did that exactly because of that reason, so that I feel like once you say that, once you have like published author in your name, people take you seriously because they know the courage it takes for you to choose to share your experience or share your story with the world. It's
Yeah.
no longer like your little group. It's like the entire world that you're exposing yourself to. And so, yeah, this is like, I honor each person in my book, and I keep reminding them, like, this is a huge step for you. And this is like a gift that is going to continue given.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's there for them for their entire lives. They've created something that they own. It's almost like you've invented something with your book, with your own individual chapter, and Abigail, with you bringing together the entire book. The chapter itself is an invention now that you own. It's intellectual property. It has value if you leverage that value.
Yes.
If you don't recognize the value in these words that you've created and put on page, the financial value and the commercial value that exists for it. And I know that might seem icky to think about the business ends of it, but think about how many more people you could help.
Yes.
If you sold 10,000 copies of your book as a custom print run to a single organization that shares your message and has 1 million people on their email list, but they're only going to buy 10,000 copies of your book from you and send them out to 10,000 of their people on their 1 million people email list.
Woo, that's a lot.
That's a huge opportunity, but those opportunities exist because organizations are spending millions of dollars every single year on buying content that is either already created that shares their message and their purpose, or they're spending that money on creating that content, which when your book is not yet published, it has a huge universe of opportunity where someone can come to you, or you can approach an organization and say, let's partner up on this. You give us some money to help promote and support the launch of this book and the ongoing promotion. And you give us money, and in exchange, we're going to add a letter from the CEO of your organization as the introduction to this book.
Oh.
And if you double the financial contribution, we'll actually put that letter from the CEO in the Amazon copy, not just in the 10,000 copies that you're going to buy.
Whew.
So you'll get a bigger audience there. Like the amount of financial support that you can create, and imagine when you're getting that money coming to you because of what you've created in your head, the power of the story, the value to change lives in that story. And other organizations will recognize this. Imagine when you're bringing that money into you, how many more people you can help and support with your purpose on this earth. Like, you don't have very long to live. The span of our lives is like this. And, you know, we've been on this earth for 160,000 years. We're lucky to be alive at this point right now. In the 600-year history of book publishing. We get to do it now when it's democratized, when it's in the power, and the empowerment is in the hands of the individual who says, I'm not going to let anyone tell me I need to ask for permission to share my message, to share my voice, to do it in a different way, to break the rules.
Yes.
You have the power to not ask for permission, to not ask people's opinion. Ask for their opinion after you've done it. Start apologizing.
I already did it. I'm sorry. I love that.
You know, and I'm sorry I made a mistake. I was testing something.
Yeah.
You're right. It didn't work. I didn't anticipate this negative thing, but I tested it. And I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna stop testing things. So when you have an idea, instead of looking to the person beside you to validate it, validate it yourself.
Yes.
Take action. Prove it to the world, and other people will be like, oh my God, I would have never thought that would work.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's what I love about, and that's why I brought you here, because you understand how you can leverage, you know, these books to, you know, with your life, with your business. It can up level you in so many ways, but you have to know, like you said, the value of that story, of your story. So Debbie, let's go ahead and dive into that. How can these amazing co-authors with the amazing stories, how can they leverage it? What is one way? Because I know you have a plethora of ideas. So what is one way that they can leverage this?
So I think the first thing and the best thing, recognizing, I hope that everyone in your book is not someone who wants to become an author, but someone who wants their book and their authoring and their message to help support their business, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to become aware of the other media channels, because your book truly is a media channel. And I say that with a lifetime of experience working with media channels in businesses. And at least the last 25 years, I spent 15 years nearly as a media buyer for ad agencies, spending $375 million on sponsorships of media channels, which could be books, it could be magazines, it could be newspapers. We didn't care. If someone came to us with a media channel that was brand new, that had never been done before, it wasn't a magazine, it wasn't a newspaper, I was one of the very first people to ever buy advertising in elevator screens, digital advertising in elevator screens, and this was 1996. right? Like you are creating a media channel with your book. So the opportunity, the first thing you want to do is recognize the connection that exists in the world throughout history, in business and in commerce, between media channels and books. They're family, they're siblings. Media channels, huge media channels, and huge publishing houses, and even very often smaller publishing houses, are owned by the same companies. So that's the reason why you always see you always see book authors and their new books in media channels, in newspapers, in magazines, in podcasts, everywhere. Media channels and journalists know that book authors are always looking for a new platform to extend their message. Business owners are not always promoting themselves.
Yeah.
Book authors are always promoting themselves. So when you take on that title, I call it like a superhero cloak.
It is.
You know, the title of best-selling book author, because nobody knows if you're not wearing that superhero cape, if you're not proudly wearing it. And I'm a superhero book author. I'm here to save people and save the world and change things. If you're not doing anything with it, it's an inanimate object. It's going to sit on your bookshelf and no one's going to know.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like a million other book authors this year who have found a way to get their message published and then been disappointed with the results because they didn't grab onto it.
Yeah.
Themselves. Like it's one of these things we're taught, and I don't, you know, I'm Canadian, so we're super polite. We don't like to offend people. We don't like to be, I'm considered to be very aggressive in Canada because passionate. They a lot of people in Canada, and I've lived in Canada my whole life. They say, you must be American.
Oh man.
You know, I wish I was, because Americans like grab life by the balls in a very different cultural way than Canadians do.
Yes.
Right. So there's a cultural difference. Now I'm also I'm one of these people. I like to know how things work and own that knowledge myself. I like to dive in deep to things that are valuable for me to know and understand. And so I've been starting over the last few years to become a financial professional. And I've become a tax professional, which is one of those things where I never knew this, but the culture, the mindset of taxes in Canada versus the United States, the tax law is completely different. Our tax situation is completely different. And people in Canada might fall 5 to 10 years behind on their tax returns, because in Canada, you're not legally required to file a tax return unless you owe the government more money. If you've already paid all the money that you owe out of your paychecks, you don't even have to file your tax return. And the reason why they make that law is because they have benefits that when you file your tax return, they'll pay out benefits if you qualify for them. And that way, the low-income people who fall 5 to 10 years behind on filing their taxes, the Canadian government gets to keep that money because there's no legal requirement for them to spend the resources to go after taxpayers who aren't filing, because it's financially benefit to the government to let people fall 5 and 10 years behind.
Yeah.
So I'm one of these tax professionals who focuses on helping people who are 5 and 10 years behind get caught up, because they don't know, but on average, they're getting $1,000 per year in refund and benefits. So I have a lot of clients who 5 years behind, and they're getting back $12,000. And these are low income people who have no concept of how Canadian taxes work. And, it benefits the government to keep us all kind of in the dark. Even in the United States with the IRS, it's beneficial to them for people to not really understand how it works. But in the United States, the culture is you have to pay your taxes. You have to file on time every year. And if you don't, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because in the United States, you don't get taxed very much on your paychecks. In Canada, we get taxed a huge amount on our paychecks.
Yeah.
So most people are owed money back from the government in Canada. In the United States, it's the same, but here we get afraid when we don't file our taxes, right? So it's just everything that I'm talking about. I know I went off on a tangent and I apologize, but it's really about recognizing that the rules don't apply. If there's anything that you see that you don't like, change it. And definitely do something exceptional, not what falls into the rules. Be the exception to the rule, and you will get so much further, so much easier, because everyone wants to follow the rules. The rules are easy. Being exceptional is hard. You have to overcome insecurities.
Yes.
You're not going to get external validation in order to right, to have that self-motivation of, I'm going to do what everyone says is wrong. I'm going to do what everyone says I can't do. Oh yeah? Watch me. You think I'm going now? Just wait.
I love that you said that, because all the authors in my book, you know, like they just, I think just by them saying yes, they chose to be exceptional, because it chose to do something that, I mean, they're all like stepping outside of their comfort zone. Like they all said yes before even knowing, like they just felt the call. I have to share my story because someone needs to hear this. Like that's what brought them in. And that, oh my goodness. So you can tell I'm so proud of that.
That is what needs to be celebrated and recognized.
Yes.
Right. Internally, privately, in external ways, any way that you can document it, that you can feel the feelings and you know, take the mental snapshot of how it feels to level up yourself as a human being on the face of this earth. And yeah, it's sort of competitive in the way that I talk about it, but it's truly what you're becoming, the leader that you're meant to be.
Exactly.
You're showing other people that they can overcome the rules that have existed for 600 years. Publishing houses succeed on rejecting the majority of authors that come to them, the majority of stories that need to be told. People who are Black and Indigenous and Indian and every other race other than white, and women and uneducated people. They just don't get chosen for their stories. When you look in the bookstores, how many children's books do you see with African-American main characters, with female characters who aren't princesses? You know, so these are the stories, these are the opportunity that we have now, is that the gatekeepers who have always existed, who society recognizes them as gatekeepers.
Yes.
And most people don't recognize that self-publishing exists. Right? So you have to recognize that most people will never even understand. All that they see is your book. And they think, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is serious. Like they published a serious book. Look at this.
Yep.
This is not self-published. This is not desktop publishing. This is not vanity publishing, because it doesn't look like any of those things. But it is. And the beauty of it being self-published means that you have control. You have control over the end results. Like there are things, if you as a co-author feel like, or you have an idea or an opportunity, you can go to Abigail and say, hey, let's create this. I have a company that would like to sponsor 500 copies of the book. Abigail, can you create a custom print run for me? And how much will that cost?
Yeah, incredible.
There's a
Yeah,
chat
Lisa.
comment that I
Hello,
saw.
hello, my dear. I know you sneaked in here when we were like
Minimal
in the
books
middle
by
of it.
Native Americans. Yeah.
I
Oh.
snuck in because I was looking for the link and I'm like, I didn't know how to get in, but I found it. So
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
I'm
yes.
glad you got in. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things that I feel really, really strongly about. And myself, the way that I work with book authors, I publish books as well. And I tend to work with book authors who are already published and who did not, they felt like the experience wasn't what they were hoping for. And I know this because I've been publishing for so many years and because I've worked in media for so many years prior to that. I know how to create my business, publishing services, in a way that offers clients the difference between what's available out there and what they really want.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And that means that I have to sacrifice being everywhere. I have to sacrifice having one of those multi-million-dollar 1,000 books. We published thousands of books for authors. Last year, we published 10,000 books for authors. Well, can you imagine what kind of individual service you get from your publisher when you buy your publishing services from, any company that if you Google self-publishing, the paid ads that come up, if you hire those companies, you're going to spend most of your time uploading documents. It's Upload City. One of my clients just told me, or one of my friends who was working with them. And they're in control. They're going to delay the publishing of the book to when it works for them.
Yeah.
You don't have control over when the book gets published. You don't have control over what categories they choose or don't. I've seen a lot of books get published to no category at all, just general books, which is a huge mistake and a huge oversight and just general laziness on the part of these organizations. Because the fact of the matter is they don't effing care.
Yeah.
All they care about is selling and getting your money and publishing your book, being your publisher, the benefits that they get from it. They don't actually care about the details because for most of their clients, the clients don't know about the details.
Yeah.
Clients don't think to ask. Working with me, I embrace and hold the expectations that you and everybody around you has for your book. Yes. I take that personally. If I look at your book and it looks self-published to me, I don't want to publish it. That's not good enough. If you look at your book and anything looks off, that's not good enough for me. Right?
Yeah.
I don't accept clients saying, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't care, then I'm not the right publisher for you.
Like you gotta care about your product. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I have lots of clients who have published books that look self-published because they did the best that they could.
Yes.
And publishing is extremely overwhelming, which is why, Abigail, what you're doing is so valuable because you're actually giving all of the co-authors the experience in book publishing that is most alike the traditional book publishing experience. If they were lucky enough to be picked up by a traditional publisher, they would not have final say on the cover. They would not likely have final say on the title or subtitle. They would not have final say on the schedule or on the publishing. They would not be paying full price for the full production of the book like you do when it's a solo book.
Exactly.
You bear all the cost. And so they're only paying a portion instead of all of it. All of that, like you're giving them such a great experience because this is a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone, and you don't have to write more books. You don't have to participate in more solo books. This might inspire a new form of you connecting and speaking with your audience.
Yes.
So that you can sell in different ways. But the beauty is you have the book physically and in digital form.
Yes.
So physically, you can carry it around with you. You can give away copies. It's like giving out a $10 bill because it does cost you money to give away.
It does, yeah.
It's like giving out a $10 bill. But the thing is, people in society respect and appreciate printed books way more than email.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right. So when you're giving it away, it doubles your generosity. When you sign it, when you sign the front cover of it, and then they carry it around and they're reading it, signed by the author on the front cover, right?
Yeah.
All of this gives you openings to conversations that you haven't had in your profession or your career before. So previously, when you want to get exposure for your business or for your career, for yourself, for your message, you have to go to the media channels, to the bloggers, to everywhere, to your own profiles, and just promote it, talk about it. Here's what I'm working on, what I'm selling, and why it's so great. Right? Which personally, I have a really difficult time doing that. Like I've been selling my whole career in multiple ways. We have a guest.
You have to join us.
Are you going to put together a book with him?
We'll see.
Is this son or a daughter?
Son.
Yes.
So I love what you're saying. And I'm glad with the last things that you were just talking about, with the being part of the multi-author book is being able to donate the proceeds to a charity. But I also wanted them to learn how they can make money out of that, because you do get a physical book, and the leverage part, you can add it to. I love that you talk about like the $500 offer where you have the book in there, and it's such a, I love the number because
it's really strategic.
Yes.
When you have a $500 introductory package, this is the one thing that you're going to offer to everybody who is a new introduction to you. Or even the people that you're reintroducing yourself to. Now, as a book author, you are changing how the world sees you. Instantly, when you announce, I'm becoming a book author, you're not just the person that they've always known. You're now someone that they kind of, in a hidden sort of way, aspire to be like. Because most people also have a book authoring dream. And so you're giving them permission to come with you when you're sharing it every step of the way. And especially when you launch a $500 introductory offer in advance of your book coming out, what it allows you to do is pre-sell individual copies of your book and identify who are the low-hanging fruit and the people who are raising their hand to say, listen, I've been watching you for a long time. I've never seen you put out an offer that was right for me yet. This is the right offer. And what I love about it, $500 is a good amount of money for you to make. If you sell one of these packages a week, that's $2,000 a month. That's a really great return on your investment for the book activity. And what you're doing is you're bundling up an advanced copy of the book so they can buy it now, and the book might not come out for 6 months or 18 months or however long you want to take to do your interviews, your production. It doesn't, like, it can be a really complex book that you're choosing to take 18 months to publish. And pre-promote and pre-market. And if it's really complex production and publishing, you need that money in advance. You don't want to bankroll books. And that's one of the things I hate seeing is when authors are spending a ton of money on various things on their books at the very start. It's their first book and they're spending, you know, they're spending $1,000 or $2,000 on their book cover. They're spending $1,200 to have their book formatted. Like, it just ridiculous costs that are unnecessary at the beginning of publishing your book, because you can, when your book is generating revenue, when it's generating engagement, when it's capturing people's imagination and people are sharing it, that's the time to invest in a new cover. That's the time to invest or to think about if republishing, if there were some typos that got through in the first edition. And offering that republishing, thinking, what are the organizations that share my message, including if you have the charity that you've selected, if the charity that you've selected has local branches, get each one of the co-authors to go out and connect with their local branch of that same or similar organization. Because if your book strategically is aligned with the charity that you've chosen, there's probably 1,000 other charities that your book will fit with as well. And it hasn't been sponsored by them yet. And it's more about the author sponsoring the charity than it is the book, right? Because the book is an inanimate object.
Exactly.
It can't do anything. It's you, it's your energy. It's the intention.
I love that you said it, like you've said so many examples how they can leverage this book. You know, the first one that you mentioned, come here. The first one that you mentioned was about, like talking about it, like in podcasts and summit, using the media outlet to really start to get it out there. And I feel like it's such a great practice, but even having the name, published author puts you on a different level. People start to listen to you. So
Exactly.
the more you put yourself on that platform and talk, the more people like, oh yeah, where's your book? I'm getting that,
Well, and the thing is, having the book is about something specific, which means now you can reach out to leaders in organizations and reach out to them and say, I'm the author of this book. I'd love to have a conversation with you about this subject. That's it. Just leave it at that. Because as the author of a book, you have upcoming interviews that you're setting up. You have upcoming books. You have articles that you're going to write. And now every person that you interview about the subject of your book becomes someone who's sharing their message that supports your message, right? Like they're giving you stories, because we all run out of stories.
Yeah.
Right. It's exhausting to constantly think, what is my amazing story, my incredible story? That's not our job as book authors. As leaders, it's not our job to live the life that is 1,000 times perfect. No, it's our job to tell the stories of the examples of the people who are doing the amazing things, that are human, that are not perfect, that don't do everything. It's not one person who can solve every problem for you. And so for the rest of your life, in order to breathe life into this inanimate object of your book, you need to socialize it like you would socialize a child.
Yes.
You want to choose who are the influences around your book. Where you're putting your book into, who is your book going to influence the most? And I strongly suggest the use of Google Alerts as a tool for all of your book authors. Put in the keywords that your readers will be searching for into Google Alerts, and just watch those Google alerts come into your inbox, because what it does is you put in a keyword about the subject of your book that you want to be notified whenever a new page goes up onto Google. That could be a press release, it could be an article, it could be a PDF document, it could be a book published, it could be a video, anything that Google crawls, any of the web pages that Google crawls that has these keywords, Google's going to send you an email that gives you the links to those things. So in an email every single day, you're educating yourself about the entire marketplace. What are all the conversations that are happening in the media about this topic of your book that you've authored? And what do you have to contribute to those conversations? Because when you read those articles and you listen to those podcasts and you hear them saying what they're saying, they're not going to say everything that you're thinking. So what you think, all you have to do is write a quick email or post a comment. I love this conversation. And I think what you haven't mentioned is this important factor, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's how you get noticed by the journalists. That's how you get noticed by the author who is a 10-time bestseller in this subject. And when the author who is a 10-time bestseller in the subject sees you promoting their agenda, supporting them, helping them, they're going to want to help you back. You're not a threat to them.
Yeah.
In book author communities, we're way more collegial and we collaborative and we are competitive. We are competing in our businesses, but we work together because especially like nonfiction books, yes, people will read multiple times. But also like we're as humans, we constantly want new information, more information, more of the same. And so that's like when you're not selling your own book, if you're promoting the well-known author, hey, I've got so-and-so, who's a big well-known author in your field that you would love to interview?
Lisa Lester.
Lisa Lester. Okay, so if Lisa Lester interviewed you, that would be a big, huge thing for you, right? So there's just becoming the book author, the author of this book, gives you opportunities to reach out to people in a way that is not selling.
Yeah.
And they know this. If you say, I'm writing an article about this, I'm the author of the book on this subject, and I'm writing an article for XYZ Media, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject, they're definitely going to want to talk to you. And that's the beginning of a relationship, which I don't know about you, but me, I only like to sell to people that I know or people who are referred to me, like people who have pre-sold. If they found me through my social media profiles or they've known me for a long time or someone referred me. Those are the only people who I make offers to. Otherwise, if you know, like if they reach out to me and say, hey, I want to work with you, well, they pre-qualified, right? But that happens when you expose yourself in the media.
Exactly.
And you get that media exposure so much more easily when you're a book author because you're contributing content to the media rather than when you're just a business owner looking for publicity, because then you're just looking to take from the media, and the media have advertising space that they want to sell you. If you just want to advertise rather than truly giving value, they will sell you advertising space until you have no money left.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's the value of it can be made to have a return on your investment, but it's a costly way to go. And so really having more of your own message
Yes.
in the media and connecting to media. Like I said, I started interviewing book authors 8 years ago in 2013, just because I wanted to learn how are they doing it. And I couldn't figure out any other way to get them to tell me their secrets for free, to spend time with me, other than to produce and launch a show for them, a platform where I hadn't already seen anybody doing this. But I was like, okay, I'm going to bring a book author who's succeeding onto my show, and I'm going to bring some other aspiring authors like myself to interview them and ask them questions. And I didn't see this type of content anywhere else. I still see it very rarely, because usually book authors are being asked to talk about their book. And I made my show about the author. Tell me what surprised you in the experience. Tell me what tricks you used that worked, that you loved. Tell me the things that you were disappointed by, that you would want to change for your next book. These are the things that they don't talk about in media, but they love to give back. So reach out to the big book authors who talk about these topics and comment on their interviews and support them. Get them when, you know, if they're your friends, right? Like I interviewed Dory Clark, who is an author she writes for Forbes and for Harvard Business Review. I had her on my show and interviewed her after Guy Kawasaki. And I asked her to join me. Actually, before I interviewed Guy Kawasaki, I asked her to join me because I had been Googling Guy Kawasaki and where was he speaking on stage? What other authors know him well and want his position? So I looked for places, what are the conferences where Guy Kawasaki is speaking as a keynote speaker at these conferences? And I went through all the other speakers, all the other lesser known speakers who were up and comers, who were about to publish books or who had already published books. And I said, listen, I've had Guy Kawasaki on my show as a book author. Would you like to come on my show sometime? And they all started saying yes, because of the power of having Guy Kawasaki. And Guy had actually asked me to be a guest on my show. Why? He asked me to be a guest on his show because he saw my video. He saw my video, realized it was amazing, and asked, could he be on it? I put it in front of him. I didn't know it was actually going in front of him. I just thought I was putting it into a good group on Google+, but it turned out the group was owned by him. And so when I posted in his group, he saw it and he was like, yeah, I want to be on this video. And he asked me if he could participate in my video. So you have all the opportunity. Now the book is either published already or soon to come out. Think about the conversations that you want to have in this topic in the media and start having those conversations. Invite people onto Facebook Lives. And at the end of it, say, I have my book. The book is about to come out, and here's a link on PayPal where you can buy it in advance for $27. Or if you want to spend 2 hours with me in a VIP afternoon, I'll give you my whole introductory amazing package that will solve your problem. And it only takes you as the author 2 hours to earn that $500. And now you have a client who, if they're impressed and in love with your service, and that's what you need to put in that in that $500 package is something that makes them really amazed and makes them realize, wow, if I got this much value and impact from $500, imagine what I could do with 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the purpose of having a $500 package, is to identify the people who will think, oh, okay, let me see where else I can access budget. It's not their money. It's not coming out of their pockets. They can get sponsors. They've got access to budget through their employer, through whatever. Maybe they're consultants and they've got other clients that will pay for it. Like, money is there.
Yeah, I love it. Debbie, thank you so much. Thank you. So, you know, you are really good with solo books, and also can you like tell us how can they find you? Xavier,
Yeah.
no,
So-
leave it there.
so the absolute best way to be, if there are burning questions that you have for me, or you think that you might like to work with me, the best way is just to reach out to me in a private message on Facebook. I've recently taken down, I'm rebuilding my websites and things like that. So I have, you can Google me and that will show you all of my publicity and things like that. But there's no more website, no more funnel at the moment. I'm rebuilding everything and coming up fresh, which I love to do. And there's no reason why you can't, because you don't need all the bullshit. All the stuff that people tell you you need before you can start selling is not true. And so like, I was like, okay, why am I spending all this money unnecessarily? I want to just free myself up and freshen everybody and ugh. So the best thing is really just to reach out to me. And I work with authors in two ways. I'm happy to speak with anyone and have a conversation with you, and advise you whether or not I think I can help you. And the ways that I work with authors are, I work to publish their solo books or republish their books that have already been published, but to fix it so that it really becomes the experience that you were hoping for and the results that you want. And if you're looking for a partner by your side who's going to make, who really cares about the results of your book for you, that's me. I don't work as a traditional publisher, so I don't take on books that either I pay out an advance, or that I do that I take on any sort of like belief or actual responsibility for the marketing. What I do with clients once they're already published. Now, I will give you all sorts of marketing and promotions ideas and support and encouragement from the very first day that you hire me, because I want you to be promoting your work well before you get published. I want you to be selling it in advance. So I do all of that, but after we're published, after you're a bestseller, the way that I work with clients is it very much is, I encourage you to be a DIY marketer. And I have a marketing mastermind group that is $500 to join. When you join, you get a 2-hour one-on-one VIP with me. And it is $500 for a year. After the 2-hour one-on-one VIP, now you're in a marketing group where I share marketing insights and some trainings, but more than anything, it's the ability to ask me questions on anything and everything that you're working on. You have me to look at it and to help you improve it. Anything that you're doing, I don't care whether that's a sales call that you want to get on the phone with me, if you want to think about what are sponsorship opportunities and ideas, how do I approach the exact person? How do I find the exact person? Who's the right person to talk to? All of these questions that you have that might slow you down, you ask me and work with me in the mastermind group. Those questions being posted help everyone encourage everyone to take action. And my focus is on finding sponsors, doing bulk sales, and getting publicity and marketing promotions. So that's the whole thing.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all that wisdom you just dropped. I mean, yeah, I'm really excited for, you know, the others to watch this and actually rewatch it. Yeah. Rewatch it again.
Rewatch it, or you know, send me messages. Please let me know what you think. I don't know if I'm a member of the group or not. Probably not, but you know, feel free to send me messages, reach out to me. And I really want to encourage all of you to find the other book authors and connect with them. Become friends with them, not just the other book authors in your book, but the other book authors who are talking about the same topic, who are talking about the things that you're passionate about, because they want you in their audience supporting them. And when you become their best audience member, they will embrace you and take you everywhere with them. When they can't speak on stage because they're double booked, or they can't work with someone because their budget is too small, but it's huge for you, you're going to be the first one that they think of to refer this business to. That's too small for them, or they're double booked. They might say, well, how about this other author that I know is talking about the same subject and in really important ways. So connect with them. The book is glue. Not glue you sniff, but glue you stick.
Love it. Thank you so much. All right. Well, everyone, yes. So, you know, if you have any questions, you know how to find Debbie. If you like, I can't find her, just let me know and I'll connect both. Like I'll do like a messenger connection thing so you can talk to her and ask her any questions, especially about this training and how to leverage this book, and even go further. You know, if you want to, you know, publish your solo book, like Debbie is go-to. So yeah, you can ask me and I can connect you guys. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. And yes, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, Debbie.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.